Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem. Jane, I just sat down here in my couch. I wanted to record this video and I realized I don't have enough battery on my phone. So I had to plug my phone in. So here I am sitting in the corner of my couch. You can hear the traffic and the hustle and bustle from Jerusalem outside my city. But I just quickly wanted to make this update before I'm heading out the door and just give you a current news update, but also speak a little bit about what it's like to be here. You see, within the last 48 hours, it's been very stressful, traumatic, and painful. I don't know where you live around the world. I don't know what your reaction is when you have an ambulance rushing by you. But here in Israel, the minute I hear more than one ambulance, it's in the back of my head, you know, there's been a terror attack. Now I need to report about dead Jews again. And that's exactly what happened 2 days ago, just about after 10 a.m. when two Arab terrorists came in from Ramallah to the remote junction, which is just outside here, the outskirts of Jerusalem. And they simply plainly started executing people, murdered 6 Jews, killed for no other reason than being Jewish, living in their God-given homeland. It was a horrific sight. It was a horrific scene. And a religious soldier and a young religious man carrying a gun battled these two terrorists, and they succeeded in eliminating them. If they had not done that, the death toll would have been bigger. So again, I had to report about 6 Jews being brutally murdered. And they were parents, they were grandparents, and now their family had to go the difficult and painful way to the cemetery to bury their beloved because they were brutally murdered for no other reason than being Jewish. We also had numerous drones coming in from the Vile Houthis in Yemen. One of them hit the airport down in south of Israel near Eilat. And then later that night, news broke that 4 precious sons of Israel, 4 Israeli soldiers in the age between only 19 and 21, was killed by Hamas terrorists inside Gaza, where our troops are defending the Jews' homeland. So within 1 day, 10 Jews was murdered by Hamas terrorists. Hamas took responsibility for the attack, the brutal terror attack in Jerusalem. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Israel Katz, summoned the head of the army and the intelligence agencies, and they had a meeting, and the decision was made that we are going to go after and eliminate the remaining living Hamas leaders, the ones who plotted and schemed and arranged the brutal October 7 massacre. Israel has already eliminated a lot of them, but there is still someone left living in luxury in Doha, Qatar, and also in Turkey. So the ones who were in Turkey came to Doha, Qatar, and they gathered in what is being described in Israeli media as Hamas headquarters. And then Israeli Air Force dropped some pretty big bombs. As of this moment, it has not been confirmed exactly who was in that house and who was killed, and of course Hamas is not going to share the truth, but the Israeli intelligence agencies will find out. But as of this moment, we don't know. But what we do know and what we remember is the video of Hamas leaders in Doha watching live the atrocities that Hamas committed when they breached into Israel and they raped our women and burned our babies. We saw how they celebrated that. And the Prime Minister of Israel have said, and also the Defense Minister Israel Katz, we will settle the score with all of these Hamas terrorists who arranged, who plotted, who schemed this attack, and the ones who carried it out. So that's what Israel did in Doha, Qatar. Qatar, who has been playing with two sides. You know, they are the ones who is trying to broker a deal, while they are the same one who is giving shelter to Hamas leaders for years and years. And you rest assured they are the one who is also pulling the strings in saying yes or no to hostage deals and keep the hostages. So that's what's going on here in Israel. It has been very, very intense and traumatic when you look at what has happened here with the terrorist attack, and then 4 precious soldiers were killed by Hamas terrorists on the same day. Something happened yesterday and I was like, am I gonna share this? Am I gonna tell this? But you don't hear it anywhere else, and you need to hear it in order to understand the consequences, the prices that's being paid in this land. When Israel was the one who was brutally assaulted on October 7, when Hamas carried out these heinous war crimes and carried out this genocide towards the Jewish people on October 7, our soldiers has been in battle against these modern-day Nazis for nearly 2 years. The price they have paid physically, emotionally, and mentally, losing their best friends, having their best friends being murdered, killed by Hamas terrorists, fighting these Nazis in Gaza for 2 years. The toll on their bodies, the physical body, their mental capacities, emotional distress is just unbelievably sad. So many soldiers with PTSD, 900 soldiers has been killed since October 7, and is it between 5,000 and 6,000 who has been wounded, and all of the families who is so traumatized when daddy again has to go to war for Israel and defend the Jewish homeland against enemies who attacked us. Israel is the victim. Israel is the one who was brutally assaulted on that day. So it is having devastating consequences for our soldiers. So yesterday morning, a wedding was taking place in Rehovot, I think that's how you say it, which is about 45 minutes from Jerusalem. The groomsmen came to the apartment on the groom, knocking on the door, picking up the groom as he was getting ready to go and get married to the love of his life. The bride was in the hotel with her bridesmaids and her family getting ready for her wedding day. When these bridegrooms come and they knock on the door, there's no answer. The groom is not opening the door. So eventually they made their way into the apartments just to discover the body, the lifeless body of this groom who, according unfortunately to report, took his own life on his wedding day because he was so deeply traumatized from what he has had to go through and endure against these Nazis in Gaza for the last 2 years. These are the things you don't hear in mainstream media. The death toll from soldiers who has been so hurt, so victimized, so traumatized, PTSD of the onslaught against Israel since October 7. The children who is traumatized, the wives who is traumatized. This is a nation that's traumatized. This is a nation where the Jewish people are home in their God-given homelands, and we were attacked by Hamas on October 7 after Jews was forcefully moved out of Gaza and they got their Palestinian state. So now people are criticizing Israel because Hamas, who turned the Gaza Strip into the biggest terrorist nest in the world, tunnels everywhere. Every other house has tunnel shafts going down. The book of Hitler, Mein Kampf, is found in numerous children's bedrooms in Gaza. Weapons were found in children's bedrooms. Rocket launchers was found in children's bedrooms. Because the people in Gaza support Hamas, elected Hamas, sending their children to boot camps, learning to liberate Palestine and murder the Jews. So the innocent civilians that the world is crying about in Gaza, they are the ones who supported Hamas and has been supported Hamas all of these years. And that's why there is so much destruction inside Gaza, because Hamas was everywhere. And they were below, and they were inside UNRWA clinics, schools, hospital, mosques. But that's what mainstream media is not sharing. And that's what the failing world leaders around the world are just ignoring when they're talking about the destruction inside Gaza. And then Hamas did an excellent PR campaign, the fake narrative of starvation, of genocide inside Gaza, which never took place. But the mainstream media is trusting the health ministry of Gaza, which is Hamas, when they are bringing out all their lies and their propaganda. So stay focused when you know the truth about Israel, the land, the history, the Bible. No starvation in Gaza, no genocide in Gaza. No, Gaza was never an open-air prison. Gaza has a border to Egypt. What did Egypt do? They built a wall. They built a wall all around the strip, the border to Gaza. They don't want the Palestinians. They are not interested in helping them. Are they open their borders? Are they taking people in while this war is going on? Of course not. They couldn't care less. They don't want them out. We need them to be there so we can blame Israel for the destruction inside Gaza. Is any Arab countries taking in any refugees from Gaza? No, they don't. Keep them in Gaza so there can be misery and we can blame Israel. So let's see how many of the Hamas leaders was taken out in Qatar yesterday. The whole world is blaming Israel and condemning Israel for doing what Israel needs to do to take out these Hamas leaders who for so many years has been responsible for what was going on and the rockets that has been fired into Israel. So just a little update here from my house, from my little corner, from my couch. Pray for all the families here in Israel who has lost a beloved. Soldiers in war defending Israel, soldiers who were so traumatized who took their own lives. People who are sitting now have to bury their beloved because they were brutally murdered in terror attack, heinous terror attacks, so many over the years. I can't even count anymore how many Jews who has been murdered. There's so much trauma in Israel, so many broken hearts, so many shattered families, shattered to the core from Palestinian Arab terrorists who have said we will continue to slaughter the Jews wherever we find them. So me and my house will serve the Lord and stand with Israel. Just one little voice trying to share the other side that you don't always hear in mainstream media, and that's the personal side, the consequences for all the families here in Israel who has been surrounded by enemies for so many years. And Israel did what they did in Gaza, in Syria, against Hezbollah, in Lebanon, took out the leadership of the Houthis, took out scientists in Iran. I mean, look what Israel has accomplished since October 7. You see, these nations don't realize when you're fighting Israel, you're fighting God, and God is fighting for his nation and for his people. And that is being proven again and again and again. And for such a time as this, we stand with Israel. Bye.